We've come to Gedi, and Gedi is a river of water, a springs that flows from the mountains all the way down to the Dead Sea. And in Gedi, there's a psalm that David wrote that is fascinating, that picks up each of the dimensions you can see around me as I sit here. It says, "O Lord," Psalm 36:5, "your mercy is in the heavens." And the clear blue sky above me reminded David of the heavens, and your faithfulness reaches to the clouds, far above David, the faithfulness of God, always there. And your righteousness is like the great mountains. And as he looked up at these cliffs that go several hundred feet straight up, it reminded him of the righteousness of God. And then your judgments are a great deep. Off to my right in the distance is the Dead Sea, which the ancients had no idea how deep it was. And David says, your judgments, Lord, are like the great deep. And then he says, how precious is your loving kindness. And then he said, we are abundantly satisfied. You give us drink from the rivers of your pleasure. And this water running at my feet is such a reminder to David of the river of God's pleasures. He was satisfied even out here in the 100+ degree desert with the life-giving waters of the Gedi stream. We're filming the Life of Christ series, and we're on the element of what Jesus did. We're just down, actually southeast of Jerusalem. If you follow the Kidron River Valley that goes between the Temple Mount and the Mount of Olives, the Kidron flows into the Hinnom, and then the water from that flows down a wadi, of which we are sitting in part of that watershed from the Kidron here at Gedi. In Gedi, we see something with this water in the midst of such a desert heat. We see something of what Jesus did. Now, these events took place just up this ravine on the Temple Mount as Jesus was attending the Feast of Tabernacles. The Feast of Tabernacles was a time when they commended the children of Israel living in the wilderness. The children of Israel lived in the deserts of the Sinai without water, and they needed desperately to have water for life. And so Moses went up and struck the rock with the staff, and out of it gushed a stream of water. They would commemorate that once a year at the Festival of Tabernacles on the Temple Mount. And right in the midst of that, as everyone was waiting for the reenactment of the water from the rock, which up in the temple area was done by pouring out a pitcher of water onto the pavement, Jesus said these words, John 7:37, "On the last day, the great day of the feast, Jesus stood and cried out." Now, most likely, there were tens of thousands of people, and everyone was being as quiet as possible to hear the sound of the water as it was poured out of the golden vessel from the pool of Siloam, brought up by the priests to the temple. Everyone was trying to hear the sound of the water striking the pavement, which was the reenactment of this great festival. And right at that moment, at the great moment of the pouring of the water, it says Jesus stood up and then cried out in a loud voice, "If anyone thirsts, let him come to me and drink." Jesus said, what I do is bring an endless life of new beginnings. As much as this water brings life to the death and dryness of the Dead Sea area, this water brings life. Jesus said, I can bring the water of life to you. Listen how in verse 38. He who believes in me, as the scripture has said, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. Jesus said, you don't have to go to the river to get the water. I will put the water within you. I will become a spring inside of you of life-giving water. Now, verse 39 explains it even further. But this he spoke concerning the Spirit, whom those believing in him would receive. Jesus, what he came to do, what he accomplished on the cross, was to become the water of life to all who would believe in him. But it's not just us coming once in a while to a river and then being away from the river. Jesus said, all who believe on me, I will become within them a life-giving stream of life-giving water, a river that flows out of our lives to all around us. I wonder if you, as you see the desert conditions around me, do you think of where you work and where you live and where you go to school as a desert? People who don't know Christ are living in the desert. They're dying of thirst. They don't know where the water is. They are withering and wilting more every day. And Jesus said, we come into that setting as life-giving fountains. We are a stream of life-giving water. Are you pouring out the water of life? Right here, that's what Jesus came to do. He came to make us drink of this water, and then to, because we believe in Him, become a river through the Spirit of life-giving water. Right here in Gedi, remembering what Jesus did as the water of life.